cover. We're going to start as we normally start with good news. Who's got something great to share?
Russ, I'll start.
Yeah,
Good morning, everyone. Hope you all had a good Memorial Day weekend. I just wanted to share that when we think about creating business and being in front of our people, Scott Maloof was on the lift maybe 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, and he came to the summit last year. And Scott is very good at generating business by hosting events. That challenged me. And it also, even for our Red Day this year, when we did the Salvation Army, it was just such a tremendous turnout. I held a barbecue this weekend in my condominium development that I've owned for 10 years, and I don't know any of my neighbors. And I had my virtual assistant send out mailers in the mail and then an email blast. I had 10 RSVPs and 40 people show up. It was simple. It cost me under $500 all in, and I generated a listing from it. Um, and it was a 4 hour event. And it was very smooth. It was a lot of fun. It was a great way to get people together. So don't forget that as we enter the summer months and people are back in town, the second and third homeowners are here starting in June. Take a risk and get out of your comfort zone and go host an event because these things, they work.
I love that. So you made about 5 grand an hour there.
There you go. That's right. No, that's about right.
I love that. Good job. Other good news.
Um, I'll share the fact, sometimes we get so busy doing everything else in our life that we forget why we live here. Whether,
Hold on a second. Is that you? Is the background noise on your end, Leslie?
yes, it
We
is
can
on my,
barely hear you because someone's talking so loudly.
hey guys, I'm trying to do something here on the lift with Russ. Hey, I just wanted to say, we get so busy during doing all of the things in our work lives and our parenting lives that sometimes we forget to stop and smell the proverbial roses, right? And like to breathe and live here, right? Like we all live in this really, really beautiful place. And I posted on my social media this week that I got to slow down and breathe this weekend. And what that meant to me was I rode my mountain bike, I rode my road bike, I went for a run, I went to a lacrosse tournament, I went to the pool, right? So boom, like I do all this busy, busy stuff. And I think it's just really important to remember that we should fill our cups. And I did that this weekend. So that's my good news. Remember to fill your cup.
I love that. I'll share that we had our fourth and final high school graduation party. Our son graduated last Monday, and he's off to Birmingham, Alabama for college. He's going to study commercial music. So we're super excited about the scholarships that he got and him graduating and being ready for the next step. So yeah, I think a bunch of us had graduations. I think I saw Chance's daughter graduated from eighth grade, Chance.
Yeah, she graduated from eighth grade and she got chose to speak at her graduation too. So very proud, Papa.
Yeah, I love that. Great.
I have some great news.
Go ahead, Marla.
Taking advice from all of these meetings, I reached out to a client who I have the listing from, and it was a 1.295 at Vale Racket Club, and discussed a price reduction and multiple open houses for the holiday weekend. And he started out at $50,000 off. And I said, well, that sounds good. I said, I think it will be more impactful if we go higher. And he inched up to 75.
Yeah.
And then he inched up to the 100,000. And I think that at about 7+% off, that made an impact. So thank you.
Wow. I love that. That's great to hear. Karen.
Hi there. I'm really excited to share that Cynthia from Top of the Rockies, Top of the Mountain. Sorry, I'm not sure. Top of the Rockies, right? And here, Mountain Properties are having a bilingual class on Wednesday, tomorrow at the Colorado Mountain College. So I'm really excited to host with multiple lenders and some other realtors and some local resources. So we're really excited for that.
I love it. That's awesome. Anyone else?
Russ, I want to reach out to everybody on the call and thank anyone and everybody that came up to our ranch tour up in McCoy last week. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful group. I hope you all enjoyed disengaging from work while you got to enjoy the scenery. Look forward to you all bringing offers. And I also want to thank the entire organization for sending me a food basket after my mishap at the end of the tour. I am resting and relaxing at home with a couple of dozen stitches.
Right. Well, we're glad you're feeling better. Good to see you, Mike.
Nancy,
Nancy, you're off mute. Did you want to say something? Okay, sorry. Leslie, go ahead.
Yeah, one last thing. Today at Top of the Rockies, and anybody actually who wants to come, Jocelyn Valley is moving on to Maine here next month. So we are doing a going away and happy hour community shindig just next door at Kemosabe around 3:30 today. So
awesome.
That's not good news. It's not good news. We're happy that Jocelyn's leaving, but we're happy that Jocelyn is doing what's right for her.
Absolutely. All right. Couple announcements. Don't forget we have Breakthrough 120 Accountability Group at 9 a.m. each day. Not on Mondays. It's at a different time on Mondays. I think 10. But otherwise it's at 9. Weekly on Tuesdays, pro coaching with Katie from 1 to 2. Contracts is usually on Wednesdays from 1:30 to 3:30, although this week it is not in session. There's some background noise, Leslie, I think on your end. May is CARES month, and we are these numbers are actually behind by about $25. There was a little thing in the system that didn't work, but Top of the Rockies is in first place in the region with about $724, and Vail, we're almost $890 as well. Folks, our goal is to raise $890 this month in honor of Mo Anderson, our former CEO's 89th birthday. So if you have not had a chance to donate $5, $10, $15, or $100, please scan that QR code and do so. You can also look at the newsletter you got on Friday. We've been celebrating this month that Laura Cardin is one of the regional cultural ambassadors for 2026. So if you have a chance to reach out to Laura and celebrate her, please do. She'll be at Mega Camp at the ceremony, honoring all of KW International's regional ambassadors for this year. Every Monday, Charles Coleman, our regional tech trainer, and I are doing a industry update, just sharing news stories and specific details about the real estate market in Colorado. We didn't do it yesterday for Memorial Day, but the previous Monday, we did a deep dive on Eagle County, Summit County, Grand County, and Pitkin County. So if you want to know specifically what's going on in those 4 counties, go to my YouTube or the regional YouTube, and you can check out the deep dive that we did there. Speaking of other training, June 11th, we have an AI event in Denver. It's happening at the Douglas County School District Legacy Campus. When you see AI powered agent, I think for some of us that sounds super exciting. For others, it sounds super overwhelming. And let me tell you what this event is. It's from 9 to 3. It is a series of speakers and panelists who are going to be sharing AI in all sorts of different ways, from simple tools and prompts to how to build an agentic AI assistant that can do things for you for pennies a day. Our goal for this event is to make it relevant to everybody where they are. In full disclosure, not every piece of it is going to hit every person because everyone's at a different place with AI. And I think this is important, to ignore AI in 2026 is detrimental to your business. It's akin to ignoring your cell phone in 1995. It's akin to ignoring your cell phone in 1995. So choose to invest some time into getting better at AI. Lauren, who will be there on the 11th, is coming to Silverthorne to the Altitude Board of Realtors, and she's going to do a workshop just for us from 10 to 1. This is just for these two market centers and our guests. We are going to be talking specifically about AI-powered lead generation and efficiency and automation tools. This is strictly about how to get more leads and how to have efficiency in your business day to day. We are calling it a workshop because it is a session where we are going to do stuff and not simply learn stuff. Ryan, did I say that correctly? Okay. The in-person speakers series for luxury is going to be in Aspen on June 17th. The agenda for the event is new. The agenda this time will be a morning session for those who are in Luxury Pro. And sorry, folks, this agenda on the bottom left, I didn't know this was still on the slide, is not the agenda. The morning will be for Luxury Pro. We will take a break. And then at 12:30, there will be a 3-hour session for all people who are interested in learning about luxury and for non-KW guests. It will be a 3-hour presentation and mastermind around luxury. So if you're pro, plan 9 to 4. If you're not pro, plan 12:30 to 4. There will also be a dinner on the night before the 17th. I'm sorry, I can't remember what day of the week that is. I think it's Tuesday night. And that location is being announced soon. Skip. Hey, I wanted to share a couple thoughts. If you are watching Inman or your Facebook feed, you are seeing all sorts of things about the dispute between Compass and Zillow. Give me a thumbs up if you have any idea what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm getting some thumbs. You may know that, and I want to just briefly cover this before we get to Savannah. You may have heard last week that the MRED, and I think that stands for Midwest Region something data. It's the MLS for Illinois, which includes Chicago. One day people in Chicagoland woke up and their listings were no longer on Zillow. Did y'all see that in the news? And you might have even seen screenshots showing what Compass showed on their website and what the MLS showed on, what Zillow showed on their website. There is a lot of stuff going on. You may also have seen that a judge threw out that play and ordered the MLS to return the feed to Zillow. You may have also seen lots of posts by Robert Refkin, who founded Compass, including one, and I think you can see me zooming in on it, where it said, today a federal judge ruled that Zillow cannot ban our sellers' listings. Every MRED listing Zillow ban has to go back up. and blah, blah, blah. So if you're following this story, it seems quite confusing. And I just wanted to spend a couple minutes chatting about this. You know, if you've been in real estate a while, you know that back, I don't know, 1960s or so, if you wanted to see a property, you had to go to a real estate office and say, hey, do you guys have any houses for sale? And if they didn't have anything that met your needs, well, you went to the next real estate office and you asked if they had any listings. I wasn't around at that time, but that's how it used to be. And in the 70s, they got smart and they decided to put it all in a book. And the book was called the MLS book. And the more wealthy brokerages could get that book and print that book, and they did it every week. And you could walk into one brokerage and you could see everything. And then in the 80s and 90s, technology was thrown into the situation. And instead of just seeing the listings in one book for one city, you could see the listings all over the place because they were on PCs. So you would walk into an office in just to say, like, to use our cities, you could walk into an office in Edwards and maybe you could see what was for sale in Frisco. And then in the 2000s, IDX and Realtor.com changed everything, and IDX allowed brokerages and Realtor.com to display shared MLS inventory online, and you could see things as agents, and your consumers could see entire regions, entire markets. They could do it online instead of having to physically visit brokerages. And then Zillow came to town, and Zillow became the dominant consumer portal in the mid 2000s. It was the largest billboard in real estate, and it allowed consumers to search for homes on a map in a very real, very easy way. Are you all following my quick timeline? And quite frankly, there was a time in the early part of the 2010s where we at Keller Williams wondered, is Zillow looking to replace us? If you've been around Keller Williams for a while, you remember those conversations. Gary Keller standing in front of a room and saying, we wonder about these guys in the back. They were sponsoring the event because they had money. We wonder about these guys in the back. Are they trying to take us over? And I believe that right now, Zillow is pretty happy making $4 or $5 billion a year. And they seem to have proven themselves to be a marketing company only and not interested in becoming our competition, but because they're making a lot of money off of us anyway. Folks, we are some people, including Compass, in my opinion, are attempting to move us backward toward a world where consumers must go brokerage to brokerage to brokerage to see inventory. I believe that Robert Refkin at Compass is attempting to make it really hard on consumers. Now, this is a Russ Nolting opinion, but I think it's a somewhat informed opinion. What's the dispute there? Well, Compass is attempting to take listings, enter them first into their ecosystem instead of getting them out to the MLS. They have consolidated a bunch of brokerages to themselves. They want to keep their listings private initially, showcase them within their channels, drive consumers to their platforms, capture those consumers' data, and maybe as an afterthought, release the listings to the MLS. Compass's play is to put up a paywall and make it harder for consumers to get access to everything. I believe that Zillow is fighting back against them because their business, frankly, depends on having all the listings and having broad listing access. They are dependent upon transparency. They are attempting to make consumers have a centralized place to go for listings. And Keller Williams and Gary Keller agree that consumers benefit when listings are widely distributed as opposed to narrowly distributed. The MLS MRED in Chicago and Bright MLS in New Jersey, where I think Marla, aren't you from New Jersey? I can't read her lips, but I think she may have said yes or no.
Bergen County.
Yeah. Bright MLS and several other MLSs are also going into this fight. They are going into this fight and working with Compass to put together agreements to use, for example, the Chicagoland MLS to broadcast Compass listings nationally and push Zillow out of the marketplace. And so the Chicagoland MLS cut the Zillow feed. Now, they cited compliance issues as their reason. Allegedly, there were 12 listings in all of Chicagoland that weren't compliant on Zillow. And the judge said, that's not really what you're doing there. I think Compass, we have to be clear about Compass's long-term strategy. Compass in earnings conversations has recently talked about how important it is in their long-term plan to have greater control over their economics and their margins. Every realtor should shudder at that, because what that means is, in order to be more profitable to shareholders, Compass's long-term plan is likely to reduce splits. And when Keller signed an agreement to do some work with Zillow, 2 days later, I think it was, Compass signed an agreement to have their listings displayed on what website? Does anybody know? So our agreement's with Zillow, the largest and broadest website. Their agreement is with Redfin. What's Redfin known for in the industry? Does anybody have a thought on that? How does Redfin pay their agents? Somebody say salary.
Reduced commission.
Redfin is the company that pays them by salary. You know, you talk to an agent at Redfin, they sell $10 million, $20 million worth of real estate, and they make $100,000 a year. Now, you may like or not like that strategy, but it is a low margin company. The company that Compass is aligning with to distribute listing information is the company that is attempting to pay agents less, because that is, we think, their ultimate play. Keller Williams continues to stand for a world where the consumer sees as many listings as possible. And we believe that transparency matters. This article in The Real Deal, you can check it out. If you search for housing notes, a Fed paper shows just how private listings screw over the elderly. Their words, not mine. There's a study that the federal government did that shows that private listings, while they sound great on the surface, actually result in lower sales prices. And their study they did shows that older people are often talked into the private listing strategy to reduce traffic, and they invariably end up selling their houses for less than they should. My next door neighbor just did an off-market sale. A Coldwell Banker agent sold it to a Coldwell Banker agent. Same office, never put it on the market. I spoke with the neighbors. I was trying to get the listing many times. They were pushed into not selling it on the market. They got about 20% less for their home than everybody else on the street has recently gotten for their homes. But they didn't have to have an open house. You guys following what I'm saying? So we have to be really careful. And I just wanted to share a little background on this. I want to get to Savannah into some recognition, but we're going to be talking more about this topic on the Monday Market Update. Vale, new listings. Will's got one on High Meadow Drive in Dillon. Michael's got one on Deer Boulevard in Avon. Joan on Main Street in Gypsum. Summit. We've got a new one in Silverthorne that is listed by the Skinner team, a new one in Silverthorne that's listed by Jennifer Chambers and Dots, and a new one in Estes listed by Dan Derman, all great homes. Okay, Savannah. Savannah's going to talk to us about creating a business that is a values-based business. Savannah, why don't you take it away?
Sounds good. Hello, everyone. I believe I know most of you, but for those that I don't know, I'm the Director of Operations for Jeff and Julie Abel in Estes Park, along with owning Signature Agent Services, which is part of both offices. We're in 11 states now, and I have 7 people that work under me for the business, and it's just been a great 2 years of building that business. And with working with Jeff and Julie and my business, there was a lot of things that I had to either overcome or understand when it comes to building a valuable business. So we're first going to talk about mindset and then roll over into a prompt that you guys can quickly write down, or if you want to open up ChatGPT right now, that would be great as well when I talk about mindset. So the first thing, and the reason I want to talk about mindset, is because this was something very important to me. How many of you have heard the buffalo analogy from Gary Keller? Okay. So to backtrack before we get there, I want you guys to understand victim versus victor. So victims are people that blame. They blame their office, they blame the market, they blame the leads, the clients. Really what they're doing is they're avoiding the discomfort. People that are victors, they are somebody that will run through the storm like the buffalo that Gary Keller was talking about. And how many of you have felt stuck before? Like you feel like a storm has hit your business, you feel like you're going through a rough time, and you're not running away from it, but you're not being a victim. But at the same time, the storm gets done and you're like, I feel like I'm just in mud and I have no idea what just happened. Anyone else been there? This was like our first 6 months when I started the TC company. So the idea behind the buffalo is that you're running through the storm as fast as you possibly can, because when you get to the other side, you aren't stuck in the mud and you come out winning. What this relates to in your business is avoiding the discomfort. And so all of you know right now that there is something in your business, either a difficult conversation, a lead that you're not following up. Maybe it's your listing process. Maybe you have just avoided really sitting down and putting that together to make sure you show value to your clients. Whatever that is, you know what you are avoiding. And eventually when that storm hits, you either have the choice to run through that storm or sit in it or be the victim. Please don't do that. Okay, so, and I'm trying to be cautious of time here. So I want to talk about the value principles here. So your mindset determines how you show up, but your values determine how people remember you. And for those who don't know, I was on the podcast with Jason Abram talking about our 3 values, which are safe, heard, and informed. And through that, those are the 3 points that everything through our lead connection, through our under contract process, even after closing in our events, we want our clients to experience. Now, those are great for our team, but that might not be for you. So what I would like to do today, and for those that have ChatGPT open, is we're going to work on understanding what your 3 values are. So you will either look at your client reviews or think about and write down things that people commonly say about you. Things like, she made me feel calm. He was dependable. She communicated so well. I trusted him. And in your reviews, there are going to be hidden feelings that people have expressed. We want to gear these values more towards the feelings that the consumers are having, because we can feel like we are providing something else, but it's ultimately what our clients are receiving from us that actually matter. And that is where we can build our value through our lead systems, our under contract processes. So I'll give you guys a second to write that down or look up your reviews, and then we'll move on to the prompt. And
So
if there's
you're
any
asking us to
questions-
write down or look up, we're supposed to look up reviews that we've received. And if we
Yep.
don't have those, write down what past clients have said about us.
Yep, what past clients have said about us. And if you're newer and don't maybe have past clients, what are family and friends commonly saying about you?
Okay.
You guys, 30 seconds. Okay, so for have ChatGPT, and I know we're going, if you guys have questions, please reach to me. But I just found this helpful as you start moving through your business and working on your systems. So you're going to use the prompt based off of what you know about me, what chat knows about you, or whatever platform of AI you're using. And these common themes, you're going to insert your reviews, or you're going to insert the things that people have said about you. Give me the top 3 values my business represents and explain why. And I will drop this into the chat as well. So what chat is going to provide you at this point is going to dig through your reviews and going to be digging through what people commonly say about you and what it knows that you're inputting in to the system. A lot of people use ChatGPT or Claude and help rewrite emails or say, you know, this is the kind of marketing plan I want to make. So it takes a lot of data, and also it's very creepy because if you look up, my sister just graduated this weekend, but if you look her up, it already knows where she's going to college because it found her acceptance letter. Like it knows a lot more about you than you realize. So by asking what it knows about you plus the information that you're providing it, it's going to give you 3 common themes. So, and again, I know we're going fast. The 3 common themes after that, I want you to think about maybe an area of your business that may not represent this. And a lot of times it's new leads. When new leads are coming into the business, how can you demonstrate these 3 values right off the bat? The great thing is you can use Claude, you can use ChatGPT to then go, okay, I want to write a new seller lead 8x8. And I want to be able to just demonstrate these 3 values without directly saying it, right? Because we can say, you know, my value to you is that you're going to feel confident and well communicated with. You can say those things, but we need to actually demonstrate it. So how through the wording can we actually demonstrate these 3 values with either pieces of value? So for us, we have like a relocation guide, and that is something that people can get from us by clicking through the link through one of our 8x8s or ads that we run on social media. And to us, that helps people feel informed because that is one of our values. Does that make sense? Have I lost anybody?
Can you give us another example? I mean, like,
Yeah.
so you're saying that in your 8x8 campaign, you're looking for your 3 values of safe, heard, and informed to permeate through those 8 touches. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. So an example of R3 through kind of our touch program is that really where the safe comes in is we're directing them constantly back to our YouTube or Facebook and constantly putting out content that makes them feel safe and like they know us right away and that we're trusted. Safe and trust kind of go hand to hand a little bit, but safe was the overall word that fit us better. And so because of that, people feel like they can actually know us and trust us and therefore feel safe. Again, informed through our guides that we provide people, or just simply explaining what's going on in the market. Jeff is really wonderful, and I would highly encourage you guys to go to our YouTube page at our market updates that he does every single week or every month. And they're really informative. And for us, we typically our ideal clients are high C's, high D's, and those actually resonate really, really well with those. And then safe, heard. The opportunity to ask questions and make sure that we are actually hearing them. So if they are replying immediately to us, the plan actually stops kicking off because they probably have asked us a question. And how many of you have like been in touch with like a service or something like that, and all of a sudden you still are on their drip campaign? You're like, none of this even applies to me anymore. Like, I feel like I'm just a lead floating out there. That is something that I think by the plans actually stopping, we're providing them that they feel heard, because then we're answering their direct question and then properly putting them up on follow-up plans. So understanding your three values will allow you to go through your lead plan and go, okay, how am I going to demonstrate this? And they'll help you convert faster versus just being a general agent. Because the biggest thing right now with AI out there is that everyone accesses it. And I know Jeff talked about this on the Lyft call as well. And I would highly suggest going back and listening to his as well about the branding aspect of it. Because I think all of us, because we have AI, can all start sounding a lot alike. Nothing drives me more nuts too is like getting on Instagram and just seeing over and over again the same videos because everyone's trying to do the new trendy thing until it's trended out. Use your three values to understand your social media and what you should be posting. Because if you're going to be like everybody else, you're going to get what everybody else is going to get. But those that are succeeding at a high level have understood their value and plugged it into their business and have shifted their mindset.
So if I'm hearing you guys sometime back looked at what customers are saying about you. You used AI in some fashion to help distill it down to three values, and your marketing is is being tweaked constantly or consistently to make sure that people understand that when they work with um I can't remember what Jeff's team is called. The Jeff Abel
Signature Home
team?
Team.
Signature Home Team. Sorry, Jeff. When you use Signature Home Team, you will feel safe, heard, and informed.
Yes, 100%. And Jeff has a great marketing background. And so when we sat down through this, honestly, this was just, I would like to give all the credit to Jeff because this was his baby with the branding. And then with that, we have been able to build from there. But it was understanding our values and knowing what we're trying to do. And we call it the signature way. Our three values is the signature way. And at our Friday meetings, we ask the question, okay, how did we demonstrate that this week? Because that's super important to make sure that we're staying on brand, because there are times that clients send me the most ridiculous things and I don't want to reply how we should reply. Because
Right.
I'm like, how are you not getting this? And yet we have trained our AIs to make sure our responses are reflecting that when we struggle to write them ourselves.
I love that. What
Does
else?
does anyone have any questions regarding that?
Any questions for Savannah on the values-based business?
Hey,
Savannah, oh, go
I
ahead.
put a couple of things into that following your prompts, and it's really interesting what you can throw into ChatGPT and how it can help you determine even like your quick Instagram bio, like what you want your shot to say underneath your Facebook. Again, that identity piece. So if you weren't listening to Savannah and weren't really doing it, just try it. It's kind of fun.
It is a lot of fun. And like I said, this is actually going to take you less time. We did this for signature agent services as well, and it for our social media. And we wrote a branding manifesto. And we went from having on average about 6,000 to 7,000 views a week up to over 16,000. And we just switched it up 2 months ago and we're continuing to grow. So it's been a lot of fun to really plug this in and dive deep because, again, and I want to stress this, you cannot sound like every other agent, especially in the Vail and Frisco area. What a beautiful place to be able to sell homes. But if you try to copy what a Denver agent is doing, it's not going to work. An example is we do a lot of luxury in Estes Park, but our luxury looks very different than what Los Angeles is going to look like. We typically don't have clients walking in stilettos with a Louis Vuitton bag. They are more people that are coming from Eastern Nebraska that are just family oriented, more kind of country folk. And so if we switched all of our marketing to look like LA, then we would be missing our audience. And one more point I want to leave you guys with, and the reason why this exercise is so important. At family reunion, probably 2 or 3 years ago, Phil Jones was talking about that if you market to everybody, you're going to get nobody. But if you actually target your group through your 3 values, what's going to end up happening is that you're going to attract more leads than who you're purposely trying to attract, right? Everyone wants to feel safe, heard, and informed, but we are also not the team for everybody. And we know that. And that's okay, because the clients we're working with, the majority of them we enjoy, and it's a great working relationship, and they're referring people like themselves. And yet we're still capturing other types of people, first time home buyers in Estes Park. You know, we do, divorces, that kind of stuff. Like we're still getting those kind of things because we've actually understood our marketing, and people that resonate a little bit with it, even though it's not exactly our demographic that we're targeting, want to be part of it.
Yeah. That makes a ton of sense. So, all right. Well, Savannah, thank you so much for sharing this today. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Next week, we've got an agent from the Midwest. His name is Jaden Barr. He's going to be talking about specific ways that he's working his database to sell 40 houses a year. And he's been in real estate for about 6 years, so newer in the business, full database based business. And he's going to talk about social media not as the strategy, but as a way to stay in front of your database at a higher level. So we'll see you next Tuesday on The Lift. Take care, everybody.